Hi, welcome back. This is Litmus A Freeman. The A stands for anarchy in the true sense of the word, which means no rule is not no rules. And we're back with part 4 of these special knowledge nuggets with Jen Luscombe. Hey Jen, how are you doing?
Hello. Yeah, good, thanks.
Great. So and of course we're back on Holistic Radio with Andy's M Pagan of the Dale. Give us a check-in how you're vibing today, Andy.
Oh, I'm vibrating at a most excellent frequency today.
Awesome. Well, that makes a change, not. So you're generally vibrating at an awesome frequency. That's cool. So yeah, let's get into it. We finished on part 3 where we went through my Venus path on my gene keys profile as an example of how you can do this yourself. And there are a previous 2 nuggets to that, part 1 and 2 with Jen. From maybe a deacon or a half or so back when she was here. And you can check out the whole series if you want to know a bit more about the gene keys. But to wrap it up now with number 4, we're going to carry on and look at the pearl sequence.
So the pearl is the culmination of the golden path. So the golden path incorporates the 3 sequences. So this is just a recommended route through the gene keys, which you don't have to take. Like, you can just kind of use the gene keys book as a reference, but you can go any way that you like. That basically responding to life from the present moment and seeing what you're experiencing and using the gene keys that way. That's
Cool.
That's the way that I've done it anyway.
That's
So we
cool. And, can I just ask then, could you maybe take a picture of the front cover of the book, or post a copy, just so if anyone wants to get that? And because I saw that book when you brought it with you, it's well thumbed and well used, which is a great sign, I think. And it looked fascinating, and I'd quite like to get a copy myself.
Yeah. Okay, so
Maybe we do that at the end.
I'll do that at the end, because I'm not very good at flipping between things on my phone. But so we looked at Litmus's activation sequence. So that's the first sequence that's recommended. So that's, in a nutshell, that's what he's here to do, what he's here to learn, what keeps him healthy, and what deeply fulfills him. And then basically that leads you then, because then you've traveled all the way to the purpose, and then the purpose, which is the sphere right at the bottom, that then is the beginning of the Venus sequence, which is the pathway of how to learn to open your heart, basically to love yourself, to love other people, to get relationships right and comfortable. And then so we've looked at the Venus sequence as well for Litmus, and then that leads to the pearl, which is what we're going to have a look at today. So let's see. So I'm sorry, I'm looking for a thing. So the pearl sequence, like the recommended order of looking at this, because this is not unlocking the pathway of love, but it's unlocking the pathway of prosperity, obviously, which love is a part of that, if not like the major part. So it kind of makes sense that you would need to open your heart before unlocking your prosperity. So that just makes sense. So the pearl sequence is part of the golden path, and it's designed to be explored in that order. So it's basically cultivating personal prosperity through vocation, culture, and brand. So those are the spheres that we're going to be looking at. But this pathway starts with the core. So we were saying just at the end of the last segment, the core is it kind of goes back to what was going on for you when you were gestating in your mother's womb. So literally at the beginning of it all. So we're going to move from that core of Litmus's, which that's basically all about his gene key 31. So that's his pathway of leadership. So we were talking about how interesting that is, that his leadership skills were being formed when he was in the womb. That's crazy. So you're going from leadership into culture. So if you just go to the document that I shared on the channel, which is basically sort of describing the spheres. If you have a look at the culture, which is in the right-hand column. So we're going from the leadership that was going on when you were in the womb. So this gene key in Litmus's culture shows how he best fits into the social fabric of the world. So kind of going, this is the shadow of this gene key directly blocks you from manifesting prosperity. So this is always a really good one, especially for people that are working on money issues. That knowledge in itself can be like massively life-changing. So by working through the fear in the shadow that you've got in your culture, you can then open up to a period of amazing growth in your life. So it's always good to see what the pathway is for you here. So the gift and the siddhi of your culture trigger the forces that catalyze your higher purpose. So if we look at Litmus's gene keys there, he's got in his culture humanity. He's got the pathway of humanity, which is going to lead him to compassion in the siddhi, but it's all kind of coming from this shadow of turbulence. So that's interesting. What do you make of that so far, Litmus?
Yeah, I'm just looking at it now. So, right, yeah. So that the culture one, 36.5. Humanity, turbulence, compassion. Yeah. I'm with humanity, I'm getting my Saturn in Aquarius coming through. Because I've always felt that we're just all equal, and all of humanity is like one thing, and if we hurt ourselves, we're going to hurt others, and if we hurt others, we're going to hurt ourselves, and if we love others, we're going to love ourselves, and vice versa. So even though I never used to really express that, because I probably thought it sounded a bit weird in the environment I grew up in, and the sort of people I was around at school, and in early working life, if you said something like that, you'd get called a Jesse or something, probably. So it's things I've always felt that I didn't always express, I guess. And I think, the turbulence, I think a lot of the turbulence was created by me making choices about things that I maybe didn't really want to do for myself, but I was doing for other people to make them happy. And probably that was because I wanted them to love me, because I had abandonment issues from my mum leaving when I was 13, So I think a lot of the turbulence was kind of self-created by not really just focusing on my path, but trying to be everything to everyone else, And I guess the compassion thing was ultimately just having compassion for myself and where I ended up, and wanting to change it and do something about it, which is what I did. And then ultimately that's given me a massive amount of compassion for everyone else,
Yeah. And I'm just looking at the first page of the Gene Keys chapter, and the title of this one is Becoming Human. And when he starts to talk about the shadow of turbulence, he calls it the dark night of the soul. So that kind of makes sense in the context of what you were saying there.
Yeah.
And so this culture sphere always points people towards the fact that when you're ready, you're going to line up with allies in your life that assist you in your purpose. And your culture also shows you how you're best designed to operate as part of a collectivity, engendering material, emotional, and spiritual prosperity. So it's kind of a bit of a key one, this as well, and it's all linked in with your solar plexus chakra.
Okay.
It's part of the ring of divinity. So yeah, this is connected up with the shadow of reaction as well. So like when you're in your dark night of the soul and you're going into reaction, you kind of attract crisis and nervousness, and that kind of like self-mastery, moving in a revolutionary way instead of a reactionary way, kind of leads you out of that into compassion, which is what the Siddhi is here, which is what you just said, really.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, I really identify with what you said about the solar plexus, because what I found is when I've had anxiety in my life, I've always felt it and manifested it around my solar plexus. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, maybe that's the same for everyone who feels anxiety, or I don't know, but that's where I would typically feel it, this nervousness there. And, and I realized most of the time that happened was when I was in a particular place doing a particular thing. And a lot of that traced back to past lives, when I did past life regression, and I was burnt at the stake as a witch, and I was an architect in ancient Egypt working on pyramids and stuff and all these things. But when I was like compromising myself, like doing what the Pharaoh wanted, how he wanted to build it, rather than what I knew was best for the people to experience it, or getting abandoned by my family and friends and given up to the authorities as a witch and a heretic and burned at the stake and all this kind of stuff. It's amazing when you think that's all being carried through, which I would say now is through your south node of your moon, into this manifestation. And when I've been anxious, it's really been because I'm not doing what I know I want to do and I should be doing for myself on my own journey. Because if we all do that, we all raise the collective anyway, So, and when I've then dealt with those shadows and got back on the path, the anxiety goes away, with some help, obviously. But yeah.
Yeah, that's perfect. But I'm just like noticing a beautiful thing about the Gene Keys chapters as well, and like he highlights a quote taken out of the main text for the shadow, the gift, and the Siddhi. So I'll just give you a little flavour here of your culture, your Gene Key 36. So in reference to the shadow of turbulence, he says, one of the greatest determinants of our frequency is how we deal with emotionally challenging situations. And then when he's talking about the gift, he says, oh, hang on, where's it gone? The deepest role of the 36th gift is to help humans to become human, which is amazing. But listen to this one. So for your Siddhi,
Compassion,
in this chapter, so the Siddhi of compassion, these are the most heart-melting people ever to walk the face of the earth.
Oh, wow.
Would you take that?
Yeah, I'll take that. Yeah. And party. Yeah.
Yeah. So we've gone for the pearl sequence, we've gone from the core, so the gestation period, straight across to the culture, and now we're going to go up to the life's work. So on the life's work, we're actually going back to the start of the activation sequence. So we're back on Gene Key 15 again, but we're looking at it in terms of the path of prosperity as opposed to the beginning of the entire journey, if you see what I mean. So this is the life work. So this is basically what Litmus is here to do.
Sorry, Jen. Can you just say that bit again? Because are we going to look at the pearl, or have we already done that?
Well, we're on the pearl sequence, so we're going around the pearl, which is in the middle of that. Your pearl is 51.1. That's the sphere, the pearl. But we're looking at the pearl sequence, which is basically the spheres that are all around the pearl, kind of in a triangle there.
Okay, got you.
ones, yeah. So
So
this,
you're going to look at 15 life's work again.
yeah, so we're going back up again because can you
Got
see
you.
how it's half blue, half green?
I
So it's
can.
green because it's the beginning of the activation sequence, but it's blue because it's also part of the pearl.
Got you. Okay, thanks.
So yeah, so just a reminder of the life's work, because we looked at this in I think it was the first one we did. So the life's work, which is also known as the brand, this is the aspect of your profile, and the relevant gene key there highlights the ideal arena of your external work in the world. So we've already looked at your 15. Let me just find that. Because this is where your magnetism was. Do you remember? You were quite chuffed to have magnetism in you.
Yeah, I've forgotten, so I'm chuffed again now when you say it again. So.
Yeah, so for Litmus specifically, he's got gene key 15 here in his life work and brand. So yeah, so this gene key, which is the path of magnetism with the shadow of dullness and the gift, the city of fluorescence. This is the role that most suits his creative expression, and that allows the full freedom to be himself without compromise. So that's interesting. So the shadow of this gene key describes what tends to occur around you when you lose touch with your true self. So this dullness, that's the thing for you to look out for when you're feeling this dullness. Nothing exciting ever happens. You know, I've never seen you in that shadow. And
No, I'm not in it at all these days, luckily, and I'm not saying it's never going to come again. You know, I'm not. I've been around up and down the sine wave enough times to know that you never think it's not going to change again. You know, but happily to report right now and in the current sort of period I'm in, yeah, I don't feel any of that. I just feel bliss every day, you know, all the time. So it's great.
yeah.
So make hay while the sun shines.
Yeah, if you think of like fluorescence, that's kind of a strange word, isn't it? That we don't really use. It's kind of interesting to look at what is fluorescence. So obviously the opposite polarity to dullness.
What it's bringing to mind for me are those fireflies that were flying around when you were here. Do you remember?
Oh yeah, amazing.
They were kind of fluorescent, right?
Yeah, I mean, Richard Rudd says at the beginning of the bit about fluorescence that this is basically the process of fluorescence is kind of what your higher self represents. So your ultimate flowering, like the blossoming of you. So he's saying here it's not something that can be chased or hurried or enforced. It just occurs when you're ready to bloom, you know, like when the right season comes. Which is beautiful. So that obviously that's going to be part of a person's prosperity, isn't it? Like,
Yeah.
So following the path is the way to move into the essence of you, if you see what I mean.
Uh-huh. And what's interesting, what I'm getting there is you know, you see these nature documentaries where you got a big sort of swarm or shoal of these fluorescent like fish or small fish or whatever they are in the water, you know, in the deep ocean stuff. And you can see them all glowing like a greeny kind of glow and all moving together. And what I'm getting from that is that's like fluorescence, like collective fluorescence in the deep waters, which to me says about emotions, you know, and processing emotions, experiencing emotions. Feeling is healing, you know, as you do, feeling emotions and learning the lessons from why the emotions come up. And I think from doing a lot of that is how you just get to walk much more freely along your path, you know?
Yeah, and like the beautiful thing about this fear as well. This is kind of like the ancients and the sages always said, you know, the mind must be still. So this fluorescence is basically sort of showing us like when basically fluorescence is experienced when awareness finally comes to rest, because only when awareness stops seeking itself can it truly rest, you know, and that really resonates with me and the path that I'm on as well. So yeah, part of what you're showing me as well, which is amazing.
Well, it's great, and it's good that we're kind of walking along the same path for a while at the moment, right? Even if we're in different places, you know, I still feel like I'm walking along the beach with you holding your hand, you know?
Yeah, and it's funny because we had a conversation about whether you need other people or not, and we were like, oh my God, do we have a difference of opinion? Because we seem to agree on everything. And then but I think we did agree in the end. But I was saying from my experience that I felt like human connection and other people were a necessary piece of the puzzle. Like you can't progress without human contact. You know, like you hear about people who just live with their AI wife in their home and they don't go out, right? Is it possible to thrive like that? You know, and I don't think it is possible to thrive without other people to activate you. But you felt that you did need other people. You felt that you could activate yourself from within, like just yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I never used to feel that. I used to feel that I needed all this validation and affirmation from other people outside of me. But I just don't feel that way anymore with where I am now. I'm very happy and content within myself, you know, and I just feel very calm and tranquil and at peace and in conscious awareness and all of those things. So what I was saying was it's a difference between needing and like wanting and desiring and enjoying, you know. So I love the interaction that I have with other people, and I enjoy it. And I look forward, like the jam last night, I look forward to going to the jam and making nice music with other people I don't even hardly know that well. You know, it's a great thing. And whatever the connection is, like the connection I've got with you now, you know, I love it. But it's the difference between enjoying it and wanting it than needing it, you know. I don't need anything else outside of me to make me in this state. But I do enjoy it, and it's a nice part of life. But even if it's not there, I'm still very happy within myself, if you see what I mean. That's what I was trying to say. Yeah,
I think that the pearl really demonstrates kind of both ends of that in a way, because the pearl sequence generally is very much talking about allies. Like you can do a lot of creating by yourself, but ultimately people coming in and out of your life and like activating you in certain ways, like that collaboration is more than the alone parts. Like sometimes, do you see what I mean? So
absolutely, yeah. And you know, in my case, I end up writing songs about the interactions I've had with other people. Yeah. And I wouldn't have I wouldn't have created those things if those people hadn't come along, you know.
I think it's kind of that old chestnut, isn't it? You need the duality, you need the light, the dark, all of it really.
Well, when you're a strong Gemini, as you know, you kind of got that within you, the duality. But no, I love all of that, but mostly I like one-to-one. You know, I was chatting with my eldest boy on a long call we had the other day about this, and I'm not a fan of I don't like the idea of going to festivals at all anymore with loads of people and lots of energy all around, and even you know, more than about 3 or 4 people. I just think you can't really interact in the same way you can one-to-one. I'd much rather have 10 different meetups in a deacon with 10 different people and have one-to-one depth with all of them than have all 10 together in one gathering on one day of the deacon. Do you know what I mean? Because you can't. Yeah, I just think the one-to-one is more beautiful because you can really connect with each other. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. So where are we? So we're kind of coming up to your pearl, which is in the center of the chart, the blue one, which is kind of the center of the triangle.
Yeah.
So Litmus has got gene key 51 in his pearl, and this is the gift of initiative. And so that's moving from the shadow of agitation into the city of awakening along the pathway of initiative. So if you think of that gift, initiative, and think initiation. So this is the title of this gene key is Initiative to Initiation.
Okay.
And it's about moving through like a portal of fears. So the agitation aspect is the mastering fear, basically. So there's two aspects to that. There's like a sense of feeling frightened and sort of almost cowardly or whatever, to reactive fear, kind of hostility. So it's kind of about mastering the two aspects of that shadow. But yeah, from what I know about you and what you've talked about, like you definitely initiate people somehow. That seems to be happening. So for you specifically, the pearl is this is the sphere that represents a harvest. So this is the great harvest in people's lives. This is the end of this golden pathway. So if you imagine having studied all of your 11 spheres and integrating all of that and contemplating them for years, you would arrive at your pearl. So this gene key for you specifically, it brings you rewards and grace once you've let go of the underlying shadow pattern. So the shadow of the gene key in the pearl, it makes you kind of like tight. There's this tight sort of rigidity. So this is what everyone's got in their pearl shadow. So have a look at your gene keys profile to see what that is for you. So especially when you allow stress to lead you away from the beautiful and the simple. So it's funny how we were saying that earlier, I think off air, talking about things being complex, and the simple way just makes sense,
Yeah.
So you become tight when you succumb to the status quo and compromise a life that could be exquisite for a life of drudgery and monotony. So that links up to your dullness gene key, doesn't it? So the gift and siddhi of this gene key remind you of what is essential in your life. So when you bring your full awareness onto these gifts, you'll experience a clarity in your life that most people can only dream of. So yeah, like there's so many little gems like that in the gene keys. Like, most people would want to know that, wouldn't they? If they had that information, like, wouldn't you want to know, like, if you brought your full awareness to a certain gift that you have, like, you're just going to manifest clarity in your life that most people can only dream of. Yeah, amazing.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's beautiful. And thanks for sharing that. Yeah, I mean, I guess the agitation and the dullness, that all feels like when I was in the Matrix to me, and I don't feel any of that in the Matrix, it's like the opposite. And in terms of awakening, I guess, that really started when I was heavily deep in the midst of the Matrix. But I just knew I had to take some initiative myself to change things and make things happen and be different, and it took sort of 9 years, the first bit of it, but I did it. And I guess that was the first part of awakening to who I really am and what I'm here to do, which is what I feel I'm doing now,
Yeah. And for you specifically, like you're in your pearl, you've got this gift of initiative, and it says next to the part of the book about initiative, it's not possible for a human being to awaken without first stepping fully into their creative independence.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, which is so interesting.
Yeah, I think I had to be creative with the ways I was thinking I was going to get out of the matrix.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was just the way. Yeah, again, Celestine prophecy, kind of synchronicities, personal synchronicities, just being open and aware that they exist, and being open to them and spotting them and following them and taking that initiative as well, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. And interestingly, he says about the shadow of agitation, because we were talking about that with Andy as well before. Like, it says the hallmark of all shadow frequencies is a profound lack of trust in life itself. So, like, we don't trust life because it's us making it complicated. Like, we make it complicated and then we don't trust it because we're making it complicated. So it's
Yeah,
about
yeah. And I'm pretty sure you reminded me something now about Louise Hay, her list in the appendix in the back of her You Can Heal Yourself, or Heal Your Life book, I think it is, that I got. Where I think one of the manifestations of pain in the body is to do with a lack of trust in the life process, right? In just the journey.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm trying to think what it is now. But it must have been one I felt at some time, because I would have looked it up to see what it said it was due to. And I remember it saying this lack of trust in life thing.
Yeah, which is basically lack of trust in yourself. So, like,
Yeah.
that, I see that in sort of people's patterns in decision making, because, like, ultimately, if you weren't able to be yourself when you were a kid, it's going to be hard for you to choose from yourself. Like, you end up choosing from what other people want me to do. What should I do? Which is why you can't trust yourself, because you've always been trying to please someone else instead of yourself. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, ultimately, this is just a journey back to ourselves and trusting ourselves by just being who we are instead of someone else. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah, so there's millions of different things we could say about the gene keys, but we've basically, I mean, I've actually learned a lot doing this. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I didn't do the golden pathway. I did the crazy all over the place pathway that was dictated by my life. Like, but yeah, it would benefit me to do the golden path and then do my activation sequence and then my Venus sequence and then my pearl.
Well, maybe we can swap over and we can look at yours on another nugget if you want, or something.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
But yeah, it's I mean, when did the gene keys come into your life?
It was, I think it might have been 2021.
Yeah, so quite recently in the scale of things, right?
Or 2022 maybe. Yeah. And it's not something I like at the moment. I'm looking at it a lot. I'm paying attention to it a lot, but actually probably at the times where I've most needed it, I haven't, because it's kind of like you forget everything, don't you, when you're in trauma or difficulty. But yeah, it's been a companion, and sometimes I've had intuitions to look at certain chapters, and sometimes when I get numbers, I'm like, oh, I'm seeing 46. Maybe I need to go and read Gene Key 46, and there is always something there, and then I'm like, oh my God, because that's a way that a lot of people who are into the Gene Keys say that it works for them. Like you're just hooking into the frequency of synchronicity. So as soon as your subconscious mind hears you starting to investigate one of your shadows for real, and you want that conversation, it will bring you videos, podcasts, information, all millions of different ways to contemplate that exact thing that you want to investigate. So it's kind of effortless. If you want simplicity, let the universe bring you the information. Just tell the universe what information you want, and then there it is. And you'll find it literally all over the place as soon as you go into the gene keys. So it just builds on itself in such a beautiful, organic way.
Oh, absolutely, 100%. I mean, I can't agree more. And that's another thing about committing yourself to loads of things in the diary, you know, and not leaving any room to be spontaneous, to take advantage of opportunities the universe brings you when you are free to accept them, right? And
Yeah.
and often when we're in the slaving day week and we're all booked up, you know, and someone will say, "Oh, do you want to come to this thing with me?" "Oh, I'd love to, but I can't because I got this other thing," you know. And it's like, oh, you know. But if you're open, if you free yourself up from all of that, and you have lots of time, you're time rich. You might not be money rich, but I'd much rather be time rich from experience than money rich for sure. Every time, you can do that, and yeah, and then the universe does give you all these number clues. I mean, like, that's another thing I guess we got in common then, because I see numbers all the time in everything, you know, and a lot of synchronistic numbers. Yeah, and I'll go and up to now I'll go and look at well, what does that mean in the feng shui bagua, or what does that mean in this numerology thing that I look at, or what does that mean in the zodiac, or what, you know. Usually I'll get a number and I'll get a clue about where to look for the answer to the number, you know. And some of them have been in my own synchronometer, you know, which the gene keys actually reminds me of. And I shared a graphic about that in the group earlier. But yeah, I think for me, you know, number, math or arithmetic, it is number itself is like the universal language, you know, it's the language of the universe. It's all communicating through number. And if you're open to that and you tap into it, it will send you all the numbers that you need to know to help you on your path.
Yeah, and I like it as well, even though I don't always know what the numbers mean, and sometimes I don't even look them up. I mean, I normally do when it's really obvious, you know, when you get it a few times, I'll always check it then. But like just experiencing the numbers, I think is kind of just a reminder to keep you in the reality that you know is real. And like it's just little nudges all throughout the day. Remember the real reality, you know, that we're ultimately trying to reclaim. I find it reassuring, kind of gentle reminder. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm just gazing at while you were talking, I'm just gazing at the numbers I see in my own profile here, and I see a lot of nice numbers, you know, so that's good. I'm going to look into it a lot more. I mean, thanks, Jen. It's been really cool, you know, because I've been like you. I've been aware of the gene keys now I mean, I think they first came on my radar years ago, and I was aware of it, but I didn't really look at it in any detail, you know. And then maybe about the time it came to you, it came to me through Kathleen Kanobo, as I call her, down in New Zealand, through Conscious People's Network, and she did a reading for me about that time, like 2022, 3 maybe, and I enjoyed it, but I didn't. I mean, what we've done together has been great because I've got a much better feel for it now and how to use it and the process and all the gifts and shadows and cities that are in there, you know. So yeah, thank you so much. It's been really good. You say you're not an expert in it, but yeah, you're a lot more expert than a lot of us, I would say, and you've certainly helped me to understand it.
Yeah, I think something that I'd quite like to do maybe in the future, like a nugget on like how to use it to heal something. So like there's so many things that I've noticed that you can do once you know that you've got a certain shadow and maybe you're stuck and you don't know how to sort of like start to unwind that. Like there's just ways that the shadow patterns are broken down that are so illuminating to look at, and like particularly the repressive and the reactive natures, because usually you fall on one side or the other of a shadow, like you're either repressive or you're reactive, but you will actually have both aspects. There will be times where you repress it and times where you react. But those sometimes just hearing the word that is used for the repressive nature of your shadow is like, oh my God, that's me. When you
Yeah.
have that, oh, right, I don't want that to be me, but that's me.
Yeah, I have to be
Those
honest. I don't want it,
insights,
but yeah, if I'm honest, I have to
oh
admit
my
it's me.
God. Yeah,
Yeah.
like, but wouldn't you rather know? Do you know what I mean? It's those things that other people can see actually, but you can't because you repressed it, or like when you're
Yeah.
reacting, you're in ego, so you're not really seeing that you're doing that. Yeah. So
Yeah.
there's a few things like that I could share that could really help people with healing shadows that are a bit stubborn or whatever, if you wanted to go that way. But like, I do really recommend just healing through contemplation as well, because there's less resistance to sometimes dive in, because contemplation is spontaneous. Do you know what I mean? It's
Mhm.
your mind will work with you, and then your mind knows exactly what your path of least resistance is. So this is a modality that works with you and for you, kind of in a magical way that you can't control, but which ultimately leads you to a better place. Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful. Awesome.
Mm.
Well, I'd love to do that. Yeah, let's put it on the mental list in our minds, and because I don't write lists anymore, and that was a big step forward, not writing lists.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's put it on that mental list to do a nugget on that in the near future.
Yeah.
And when we were talking for an hour in between these two nuggets, we were talking about oh, maybe before that you were saying about doing a nugget on the lines, right? The 6 lines.
Yeah, because I've been digging and found kind of more information about that, so we could do that in more depth, because that is really helpful in terms of what role you have regarding that specific sphere.
Yeah, and you were telling me you've kind of come up with your own interpretation and method for this, right?
Yeah, yeah, like this is a modality that where people are healing through contemplation. There's so many different. It's infinite. Like it's an infinite way to look at your reality. But hearing other people's interpretations of um, all of these aspects is often something will trigger, and then you realize, oh, that they've just revealed to me a bit that I couldn't get to, or whatever, just because you've heard
Hmm.
somebody interpret something in a different way or use a different word or whatever. So yeah, I've looked at the lines, and that's given me more information about who I am and what I'm doing and what I'm supposed to be, like how I'm supposed to be giving, serving.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, how about, I mean, do you want to, if it works for Andy, how about we have a break and then we do another nugget just on the lines thing and the way you use it, because I found that very interesting.
yeah, but I don't think I can do it today because I've got Ivy on the way here.
Oh, of course, you got your daughter coming. Yeah, yeah. Well, let's
She's
let's let's
well,
do that one, but sorry,
she's
what?
she's coming in imminently, but not straight away. But I don't think I'd have time to do it today. Yeah.
No, that's okay. That's all right. But let's
Mhm.
keep that on the list as well then, and let's do that one next to kind of wrap up the 5th part of this Gene Keys series.
Yeah.
And we can call it the Gen Keys, then.
Yeah.
All right. But maybe we leave that there now. It's been great. So thank you so much for taking us through all of that and your understanding of it all.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to say to finish off before we wrap it up?
Um, I don't think so. Yeah, I'm just kind of like I like the way that we're breaking it up, because it is overwhelming when you first look at a hologenetic profile, and
Yeah.
it's just we've sort of offered people a route through it, so I'm kind of don't want to overwhelm people with too much at once. But yeah, there's loads more. There's all
Of
sorts of
course.
things connected to it. Like there's the 7 sacred seals, and then there's like the whole um dream arc, which is basically the energy of spirit animals being woven into the gene keys as well, and lots
Ooh.
of archetypal things.
Would that be
Uh,
your gorilla by any chance?
yeah, my gorilla. Yeah, that's another story.
Another story. I mean, maybe we'll get into a bit of that on your next show, eh?
Yeah, I'll talk about my gorilla. Yeah.
Okay.
I might
Well,
have talked about my gorilla on my show. Actually, I think I might have mentioned it, but it's
you
quite a
mean
synchronicity. Yeah,
you mean you have talked about it already on your show, or are you thinking of doing it?
on one of my shows I did, but ages ago. Yeah, I
All
think
right.
just in passing. I think it was a tangent. Yeah.
A rambly tangent. Okay, so I mean, on your next show, if you're gonna cover the sort of topic we talked about, that's something you can bring in there, isn't it? Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but okay, so we will do a fifth nugget in this bowl of nuggets about the gene keys. So keep an eye out for that. But for now, a big thank you to the lovely Jen for taking us through it. Thanks, Jen.
Oh, thanks, Litmus. I've enjoyed it. It's been great.
Cool.
And
And of
I love
course, thanks
sharing
to
this.
Jen. Sorry, what?
I love sharing this as often as possible because it's magical.
Yeah, and I think this is why I like to share what I understand about astrology with people as well. This is the same kind of thing, you know. Whatever your thing is, it's like you just want to tell everyone. It's like when you're a kid and you've just seen a new movie or something. You're like, oh, you got to watch this. You got to watch this movie. You know,
Yeah.
you want to tell everyone. Yeah, cool. And of course, a big thanks to Andy Zen Pagan of the Dale again for always being here for us with the holistic radio and all his wise comments. Andy, anything else you want to say before we finish?
Thank you both.
Excellent. There's a little Tigger snarl there by the sound of it. Yeah. Good. So thanks, Jen. So this was Jenny Luscombe and me, Litmus A. Freeman. The A stands for anarchy in the true sense of the word. I hope this bowl of nuggets so far has given you a bit better idea of what the gene keys are and how to use them for yourself. We will do the fifth one, but for now, just going to say ta-da and have a great evening and a great period coming up for you, whatever you're doing in your life. And we'll be back soon with another Knowledge Nugget on Holistic Radio.